Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co.
I'm Shira.
And I'm Jesse Anderson from Quackalope.
And today we are reviewing Granja. Granja from Board and Guide. Well, actually, I don't even know how you say this nowadays. Granja, which has been out for a while, and this Master Set Deluxe Edition, currently on Kickstarter from Board and Dice. It's basically what it sounds like. It's a deluxeification, upgraded version of a game that's been out for a long time, that's been loved for a long time. I've had a chance to play the original a while ago, and we've been diving into the new one since we've gotten it.
We just got done filming a gameplay.
Yeah, just got done. Head over to Quackalope over here, and you'll find a gameplay of us going through it, and somebody won. Who? Well, you have to actually watch that to figure out the rest.
Or the rest of this video. I'm sure it'll be brought up because we're a little bitter about it.
So basically, this is an upgraded version of the game. It's going to be coming with a bunch of modules. I believe currently in the Kickstarter, if I'm not mistaken, there's currently 9 unlocked as of now, and it still says that little more coming soon, so a whole bunch of ways to augment and change out the experience. We've had a chance to dive into a few of them, but we only have so many, so we haven't really been able to go into that much. But we've seen small ways that it can modulate the experience, and I don't even think we've dived into the ones that have a bigger impact on the game. A general structure of the game, or what it does before we dive into our thoughts and our opinions and all that, is this is a game that will play out across 6 rounds as you try to basically build the best farm you can. You're going to be trying to building out these production cycles and delivery chains so that you can make the right goods and deliver them when and where appropriate. And a big part of this game is going to be those multi-use cards. These cards over here have 4 different ways that they get played in the game. They can either play it as helpers into your personal field. They can be played as market barrows, which are going to be one of the areas where you can source deliveries and then have an impact on how you build out that central marketplace. Or you can play to the left or the right of your board as either fields or farm extensions to give you different things, more ways to just upgrade stuff. So everything you're doing is upgrading stuff, and it's how you utilize the actions in the game. Past that, you're going to be rolling dice and have a degree of dice selection as you choose different dice that will give you different resources. Again, all geared with the idea of how can you be slightly more efficient than other players? How can you take that extra action? How can you lock in those extra 3 deliveries? Because deliveries will just give you more stuff. You're constantly building this income chain, this bonus chain, this point and point and point after point chain in Granja. That's a very high level overview. High. You can check out the gameplay if you want to check that out, or there's plenty of other content around. And with that, I think we'll dive into our general thoughts and opinions.
Okay.
Starting off with what we like. You want to go first?
I like a lot. I like the theme, first of all. I like the farming theme. I love the artwork. I heard it's improved and changed.
Yes.
And I really love the artwork, both on the board and on the main board.
Sure.
I love the variability. I love the different pathways that you can take towards victory. We all try something new every single time we play, and we come in within pretty close range scores of each other. I like the time it plays in. It plays in between, I think, 50 to 90 minutes. It's a very tight and rewarding experience for the time it plays in, like that. I like the take this, take that we engage in by taking people's dice that we want or reserving dice. I think those are the main highlights I wanted to touch upon.
So I'm going to agree with most everything Shira has said there. It really does. It plays quick. It's efficient. It's very tight. And a lot of what you do feels rewarding. For me, I think the one thing I want to highlight beyond what she said is our actual cards, and in 2 forms of them. First off, the way that you select and can choose to play them around your board to upgrade different areas. It makes every card important in multiple ways, and you have to make a real decision around where you play it. Do you get an ability? Do you get a resource that's going to help you throughout the rest of the course of the game? Do you go for a delivery area where you can start bumping up and maybe scoring victory points a little bit early on? Or how do you sequence it out? And that is where we see all of our tableaus differ, right? It starts creating this asymmetric puzzle or this unique route that you're going down. The other thing I want to point out is I believe, from what I've seen, I might be wrong, but I believe every single ability card down here in the deck is unique, or at least unique enough that I haven't noticed repeats. And they formulate so much of my gameplay strategy that I actually find them to be one of the most interesting parts of the game. When I first pick up my hand of cards and I start reading through the 4 or 5 different options I have, I'm excited to understand what puzzle I'm solving this time. Am I going for pigs? Am I investing in the marketplace? Can I control the dice as people play through? And all of them feel really nice, especially when they start pairing together.
Yeah, there's not going to be much I'm going to be able to add here. You both covered most of what I'd hit upon. The variability... The variability of the experience. The variability is huge in this game as you try to get your handful of cards and try to determine your strategy. You have a lot of different options. Everything's a little puzzle, a little fun. Like, ooh, I have this thing over here. I mean, even just doing a gameplay, I saw a new card that I've never seen before, and I'm like, I hope I get that in my opening hand next time because I want to.
You insisted on reading it.
Yes, I insisted. And she was like, no. And then I said it out loud, and she was like, ooh, like it's exciting. these cards all give you a way to go through strategy. And while you only have 3, you do have the opportunity to slot in new ones as the game progresses, as one card starts falling out of favor in terms of the benefit it can provide, which will happen. Some of them will be great for early game play, and then you'll get to these late game delivery, extra ways to get deliveries in, and you'll have to pivot to that. Past that, the general structure of how you go for the game, of how you go for the, do you go for your own individual market barrows? Do you build out your fields? Do you try to lock in early game income bonuses? Do you try to go for end game scoring points? There are a lot of different pathways as far as how you can hit upon that. And then the last 2 things I kind of want to touch upon are, one is, like you said, like I said, not anything new here, is the playtime. The amount of game you get done in an hour here, and this will depend on the game, your experience with the game, the player count, the modules playing with it, all those will be factors.
We play with some slow people over here.
But you can get an hour-long experience in with a lot of fun gameplay, a lot of interesting decisions around there. And then the last thing I want to hit upon, and this is something that we haven't had a chance to fully dive into, but like 9 modules. There's currently 9 modules on the Kickstarter, more coming seemingly, and so we've even just diving into the few that we have access to, they're going to give you, just like these cards keep giving you more reasons to dive into a new pathway, a new something. I want to try this game with every single module and see how it plays around with the formula.
For me, the modules that I've experienced so far feel similar to, and I just, as I was saying it, I was Glenmore 2.
Interesting.
They're not heavy modules. They're not changing the entirety of the game. Now, there might be some in there that we haven't seen that actually do more formulaic, like tiles that you go. I know there's a longest road or a long delivery module that actually has a whole nother track that we build out. But some of the modules we've played with do things like give you slightly more delivery options or reward you a little bit more from going to a certain area, placing down a larger token or a larger marker. And so they add interest to the game. They certainly change the puzzle, but they never readapt it. And I'm going to be honest, I really have enjoyed playing base game, and the modules are interesting twists, but so far they aren't reinventing the wheel.
So it's going to depend on the modules. Some of the modules are more impactful than others.
Yes.
We specifically and with intent to dive into some of the lighter peripheral ones just to get our feet wet. But some of the ones, even just the ones we have access to, forget the ones we don't yet, there is going to be a mix. It's going to be something like you said.
Glenmore would be my comparison. And the
Glenmore's a
reason
big
being,
comparison.
there's some times where modules mix into the game and I never take the module out.
Yeah.
Whereas here with this one and with Glenmore, I always make sure they're separated because I might want to play base game or I might want to play base game plus 1 or 2. And that puzzle, that's the type of modules you're getting. It's not just a shove everything in the box and you play with all the expansions at the same time.
Yeah, I think your Glenmore comparison's on point. I feel very similar about it.
I want to touch upon the production quality. We have a prototype in front of us, but I find it very satisfying that there's little nooks that you can that you actually slide these in. And the way that they design the cards is that the single card has the different areas that need to be shown for every single location it fits in. I think it's very nifty. I like the dual layer boards. I like these little chits. They are very satisfying to slot in. And so I kind of just wanted to touch upon that. I know this is prototype, but
no, you're not wrong. For a prototype, based on where it is, I mean, it's already very solid, and I expect this. I mean, I
would imagine this is close to.
Yeah, could be. Anything else we want to touch upon on what we like?
Anything else we want to touch upon about what we like?
You just repeated his.
I'm trying to think through.
We hit a lot of the points. It's a variable experience, lots of pathways to victory, quick and simple while being a lot of depth at the same time.
Yeah.
All right, Jesse, I think you have specific nitpicks that are going to be the same as mine.
Okay. So should I go ahead and start talking about nitpicks? All right. So I have one major nitpick for this game, and that is the lack of flavor text in the core rulebook. We looked for it, and there was none to be found. Beyond that,
it's a prototype.
Have you not watched Encanto? I literally
there's no flavor text.
What do you mean flavor text?
There's no flavor text. Okay. There's beautiful artwork.
No. We have here we go. Abuela. Okay, we got Abuela over here.
That's not flavor text.
We have Isabella over here. Okay,
I understand. Yep.
Isabella.
Okay.
We have Lisa over here.
Yeah. Okay, so you're just comparing it to Encanto.
But that means I also have the rural. I have a flavor. I just need written text.
I'm joking about that flavor text comparison. My single biggest complaint across the board is going to be the lack of fun, powerful moments throughout the course of the game. There's a lot of tight moments that feel good.
That's not
No, it is, but it is mine. There's a lot of tight moments in the game that feel good to do. Like, for instance, on this last gameplay that we did, I delivered a bunch of stuff on the same round, and those 4 deliveries scored me like 20-something victory points. And that did feel good. Or taking a die and holding that die and not letting people use it, or forcing them to pay for it, or getting being able to pay for a ton of different powers and abilities like Sender has. That feels good, but none of it feels awe-inspiring or amazing. And there's a lot of evidence in here of where the game is tight over fun. The dice, for instance, depending on how they roll out, they're oftentimes smaller single actions that you get to take. It's a push-pull mechanic. and it's tight over fun. These locations where you buy your roof tiles, they get worse as time goes on. It's tight over fun. Every location where you spend your goods and how regions lock off at the beginning of the game, it's tight over fun. Even when you get to this middle marketplace here, you're spending everything you got in order to bump like 1 or 2 people. It's tight over fun.
I can start seeing it in sync.
That's my problem with the game.
Okay.
I don't have as much fun as the game as I would like in the game.
Can I try getting your criticism?
Go for it.
Points?
Okay.
Okay. I think my problem is that it feels more like a solitaire puzzle where you are focused down on your player board, and while there is some player interaction on the board and player order does matter, I don't really pay attention to when they're scoring points. I don't have any awareness of when everyone else is scoring points. I'm doing my own thing, and I hope I'm optimizing my own thing the best. But until I interact on the main board with everyone, it's really just a focused puzzle on my own personal thing.
Sure.
Yes. Mostly more what she said than what you said. Some of you, we hit on some things. So to give you context where I am, I'm somewhere in the middle of the two of them. I very much agree with Shira that it often feels like more of it matters based on the solo puzzle. Meaning, a good example, the way I put it is, it almost matters to me more that I do or don't happen to draw a card that benefits my strategy than that you do or don't take my die.
Sure. Yes.
Meaning, things matter, but the dice do matter, and I do often want that 3 that you're going to take. But okay, fine, I'll make do with the 2, it's fine. Versus getting a card over here that complements my strategy, that could be far more impactful. So I agree with you that it does tend to feel a little bit more solo-y while still having a lot of interaction. Don't make the mistake, there's no interaction. There is, just it can feel like a solo puzzle to a degree. I agree with you half on the type versus fun. I think that you can't kind of have it both ways. You started with like, you never have these powerful moments, and I think you do. I think there are times, like you said, your last round where you have this, 4 spots delivered, 27 points, and like those are fun, those are impactful. But I do agree that you have a lot of tight versus fun moments, just I might feel it lesser than you do. I agree very much on these roof tiles that they get less rewarding and less fun, and yes, they give you points, and yes, they're mathematically worth the return, but can you give me something fun to do with those? It would be nice. We can make those one of those modules. Like modules, the overpowered roof tiles. We can do that, okay? There's still time for more modules. But
I would never take that out of the box.
I would never take it out, exactly. That would be locked in. There are areas where I do agree that I kind of want a bit more power thrown in, even if it comes at the cost of tightness. I don't feel it as strongly as you. I lean a bit more towards the solo puzzle, but I think we got semi-degrees of overlaps in terms of what we don't like.
I mean, it really depends on the type of Euro you're looking for.
Yes.
For a lot of people, that economic resource, that solo puzzle, that type of tightness is what they're looking for in a Euro.
Yeah.
Whereas the comparison we kept making is Lorenzo Magnifico. And Lorenzo, it is way more head-to-head. What players do matters a lot more. And the moments that I do something cool in Lorenzo feel insane. But the gameplay is actually very similar. They are both tight, where every action matters, and oftentimes you feel like you've not been able to execute on the engine you're trying to build.
Until the last round or two.
Maybe, possibly, unless you mess something drastically up.
Oh, in both these games, in both Lorenzo and Granja,
the more plays we have.
No, I feel the last round or two is where, like, the whole game, like, my engine won't start, and then the last 2 rounds, and I'm like, and there you are. Good to see you again.
But they oftentimes, depending on how your engine functioned, leave you feeling like you would have liked another
I still feel like I would have wanted one more delivery round and one more this
and that's about timing.
That.
That's about pacing. But that's going to be my comparison. And the comparison on the tight versus fun element really has to do with that comparison between Lorenzo and this game. If you want a cleaner, more economic Euro game, this is going to be your shining star. Yeah. If you want something that's punchy, where players really fight with each other, it's going to be Lorenzo.
Yeah. And this is like, it just happens to be, as we were playing the game together, we're both looking at each other, we're like, this feels like a Lorenzo, but different at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we agree. Anything else we want to touch upon before we move into final thoughts? Anything specific? I think we covered a lot of things. We covered the general upgrading. I think some of the areas we talked about, the general pathways of this game are going to hit a lot of similarities just in the way you're trying to do things, even though you have variability is how you approach them.
What do you think it functions best at player count-wise?
I haven't actually looked at Board Game Geek. I've really been enjoying our 3-player games.
I think it would be helpful to have more player interaction in this middle board. Especially when you guys are more focused on the outside board. I was trying to focus on here, and you can get a lot more points by knocking people off there.
You could, plus those points can potentially last round of round as you earn them.
Player interaction might increase in an interesting way with an extra player. I'd be curious to see if that
keep in mind,
helps.
These do come off at 4 players, so you do lose a little bit of that.
But just the nature of more people going for more things, areas unlocking,
there's
tiles
more
unlocking.
There's more dice, more competition.
It's a question. Honestly, 3 for the type of puzzle it is and how clean it plays is right now where I'm really enjoying it. I'm not too interested in playing it lower. I think it becomes way more of a solo puzzle. But I'd be okay seeing it.
I'm more than happy to try it for it. I actually, so we didn't touch upon this, but I have played, I think I did mention it. I have played the original game, the original La Granja. When I did, it was at 4 players. I got a few plays in back then with my game group. I remember the specific people I played it with.
It didn't end up sticking around.
It didn't end up sticking around, no. It did not. It's a game that I enjoyed, but then moved on from, and that will be relevant to our final thoughts, which might be a good time to move into. Final thoughts time.
And rating?
And rating. So I'll start this one off. I'll start this off specifically with that aspect. I played the original La Granja, and when I heard about the reprint, I was very interested because there are a few games. Vinhos is one of them from La Cerda, La Granja, probably like 14 others I can go through of heavier Euro games that I played earlier on when I first got into gaming that I constantly want to dive back into to see where they are and what my first impressions were, especially when they're well loved by others and I didn't love my first plays. I liked La Granja when I first played it, but I remember thinking that I wanted more of the fun and less of the tight, and so it stuck around for a little bit and then I eventually moved on from it. But I'm very excited to see this one come back, especially with modules. Using Lorenzo as a good example here, Lorenzo is a game that I got rid of the base game as well.
It's a fair comparison, and we've been playing through it together.
We've been playing with expansion, and we like it a lot.
The expansion is a lot of fun.
Yeah. And so I very much did want to dive down into La Granja, trying to see what streamlines they've made, any changes to the rules, and it's been long enough since I played it that I don't remember what small nitpicks. It's the same general game. I don't know if they've made any changes to the rules from there, but the modules do mix things up. For me, La Granja is one that my opinion definitely has improved in the sense that this is a game I absolutely do want to pick up. I absolutely do want to have it in my collection, and I do want to go through every single one of those modules to see which combination of them take it from where it currently is to potentially either staying the same or alternatively bumping it up for me. Which brings me to my rating part, which for me, this one's a 4 out of 5. I really enjoy it. I really like it. It is a little lower than other Euro games in this tight versus fun category that drift a bit more towards the fun, but I'm very curious what the modules do to change that. I can easily see a module here, a module there, that loosens things up a bit more, gives you a little bit of opportunity to play with things. They can easily push this game a little higher for me, or they might leave it at a 4. But I've really been enjoying the amount of gameplay I get out of an hour-long game with what this is doing, and I do want to dive into trying different strategies and different combinations of cards. I've really been enjoying my dive back into it.
I'm oddly close to you with a lot of what you're talking about. The better I know this game, the more times we've played it, the more I've wanted to continue exploring it, right? There's an interesting puzzle here. And within the time frame, it does play very tight and keeps me invested for the duration of the play. My issue is, I think for me, it's going to come down to those modules that we're adding in. I mean, the fact that we've unlocked 9 of them is really promising.
Yes.
Because I think there's a version of this game that for myself and my game group includes 2 or 3 of those modules, and then it's always hitting the table at that style.
Stefan Fell's one of the designers of the modules.
Cool. Very cool.
I like his stuff.
So my thought is right now La Granja is going to be a 3 for me. It's a 3 out of 5, which means it means it's a really good game.
He said he was like close to you. I thought he was like thinking 3.5, 3.8.
No, it's a very good game that I'm happy to play.
But you're never asking for it.
I'm not asking for it right now, but I do want to pick up the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And with Shira,
but it's a 3 and you want to pick up the Kickstarter? What?
For two reasons.
Okay.
If we she's going to go next, but I'm preempting her thing. If we weren't collectively together, I probably wouldn't pick this up. But the combination of having 2 people around me that enjoy the game, and people that are going to invest in playing it and learning the modules, means that there's a version of this game that I might be able to find that I really like, that brings it up to a 4. I don't see it getting to a 5, but I think it's a 3 with a lot of room to grow, and so I'm very interested in seeing where the game can go.
Yeah.
I am perfectly aligned with him over here. It's a 4 out of 5 for me, and it has huge potential to grow. I am really excited to dive into the modules. We will definitely be seeing them and diving in. I want to try them all, and then figure out and think about and concoct with you what we think the best possible combination might be of all those modules, and come up with a really fun experience. I want more fun. I want more power. I want maybe some asymmetric abilities, maybe drafting some of these starting cards in the beginning so that you can kind of plan what you're going to do.
Fun.
I love drafting. I think drafting should just be in every game.
We're adding drafting to this game.
Her one module is drafting.
Okay, great. We are adding the overpowered roof tiles and the drafting module.
Announced today, that's the 10th module.
And 11th module.
10th and 11th module.
I just think that would be, we both love
Drafting,
both of us love these powers and how they can really make your system that you are going for. Not that they won't change throughout, but if you have the opportunity to choose and pass on and see more of the cards, I think it would really improve the experience.
The best part about drafting is fun and tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's also very easy to house rule and implement.
Yes,
it doesn't hurt the game.
Be very easy. We're going to be doing that. We're adding that module.
No matter what it's in.
Yeah, so that's why. Those were my thoughts. Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, I'd be sad if I never play this again. I want to see where it goes.
Oh, I wouldn't care.
Oh, come on.
But I'd be happy to play it again. I want to play it again. But I wouldn't be sad if I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. I've really been liking it. But yeah, anyways.
Cool.
That has basically been it. This has been our review of the Granja. You can go ahead and head over to Quackalope to find
head over to Board Game Co.
to find the gameplay, and over to the Kickstarter link down below if you want to check this one out. Until next time, I'm Alex.
I'm Shira.
I'm a duck.
Have a good one.